By day, Clif Bakx of Grunthal makes a living as a design consultant with TriStar Dairy and as councillor for the RM of Hanover. It's his hobby, though, that is garnering Clif international attention in the world of top alcohol dragsters. Clif, along with a group of friends and fellow racing enthusiasts, are the faces behind Bakx Racing, a team that managed to pull off two very impressive wins in August. The first at a national event at the Brainerd International Raceway in Minnesota, followed up by another big win in Topeka, Kansas, against one of the top teams in the region. Clif's foray into the world of the National Hot Rod Association began as more of a hobby.
Probably about 8 years ago, I really had no hobbies. All I did was work between farming and our company, and we got to the point where I could get some spare time, and I've always wanted to build a race car. So we built one race car that I thought would be for street and for race and for show. So I built this Acadian, and then I started really eyeing up these dragsters. I remember when I was probably 10 or 11, I'd build these little models of dragsters from way back in the day. And I always had sort of a passion, and I met a few guys that had dragsters and sort of sat in them, and then one guy asked me to just steer it while he towed it to the end of the racetrack, and I thought, I got to do this.
Clif was hooked almost immediately and focused his efforts on the top alcohol division of the NHRA.
When it comes to the NHRA Racing, and if I look at just dragsters, the top class, I guess you would call it, is top fuel, where it's a dragster similar to what we run on nitromethane with a big supercharger on it and generate about 8,000 horsepower, and it's a game for professionals with a ton of money, and it's nowhere near anything anybody could really afford. The next level down is what we run, and it's called Top Alcohol Dragster. You have a choice in that class of running a car that burns alcohol and you can put a supercharger on it, or you can have a non-supercharged car or a naturally aspirated one, and you can burn nitromethane. And I chose to go with the nitromethane car because it's a lot more of a challenge. The reason I went to this level was the challenges of the whole class, the challenge of everything, the challenge of building the car, the challenge of tuning the car, which is also why I don't normally drive the car. I've always driven cars. I've gone over 200 miles an hour for lots of years. It's no big deal. To me, the challenge is building it, being able to accomplish another level. Gord Jingles drives my car for me, and I build it and I tune it.
Gord Jingles has been drag racing motorcycles for years and runs his own motorcycle shop in Winnipeg. It takes not only a steady hand, but a high level of concentration when behind the wheel of a vehicle capable of reaching speeds of 270 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds or less.
At the end of the racetrack, 270 mile an hour is somewhere about 425 feet per second, which is farther than a football field in a second.
When you consider the level of success that Bakx Racing has achieved at such high caliber events, like the ones in Brainerd and Topeka, Clif is quick to point out that it simply wouldn't have been possible without a complete team effort from everybody involved.
The nature of succeeding in a class like this is sort of a two-part thing. One, of course, you have to have the equipment. You have to have the car. You have to have the right parts. You have to, there's the physical side of it, but more importantly are the people. Now, I've got a very dedicated crew of 4 very good friends that sacrifice a lot of their work time, a lot of their holiday time. Nobody gets paid for doing anything on this car. We go out to a race, we cover I cover all our expenses and stuff. But the biggest thing is that I trust everyone. This machine, when everything goes well, pretty easy to drive. But a lot of things can go wrong, in 5.3 seconds.
Tuesdays are shop night for Bakx Racing at Clif's shop in Grunthal. This is where the car is broken down, engine parts are swapped out, and general maintenance is done where needed. Rob Schultz is responsible for working on the cylinder heads on the motor, as well as between-round maintenance on race day. Being successful in top alcohol racing requires the ability to take the show on the road.
Everything we can do here, we can do on the road. So Yeah, that trailer is just packed with tools and spare parts, and most of the cylinder heads and stuff are assembled here, but we carry at least 6 spares, and yeah, it is an amazing trailer.
The ability to keep the bull performing at top capacity requires not only a 100% effort from each member of the team, but the necessary tools to get the job done while away from home.
On a run where nothing goes wrong, after the run, we have to bring it back, get rid of all the nitro in the system to make it safe to even work on, because we don't want any explosions. Then we do a leak down test to check to see how valves and pistons are doing, a valve lash, gourd changes, bearings in the bottom. Yeah, and that's only if everything goes well. If it doesn't go well, the motor comes right apart. And in Brainerd, I think we had 55 minutes, and we did have to change a rod and piston. And we did it.
The Bakx trailer is also equipped with high-tech diagnostic tools that allow each member of the team to determine what maintenance is necessary and what alterations to the car need to be made.
On the car we have a race pack data acquisition system. What you see on the screen here is our run after, this would be the second elimination at Topeka. There's probably about 30 different things I could bring up on this screen, but this is essentially what we look at typically right after the run is this.
The team's checklist includes things like the bull's tire performance, engine RPM, fuel flow, exhaust gas temperature, and cylinder performance. They'll also review video footage of the run to further critique the car's performance.
This is filmed at 240 frames per second, so we can see how the car reacts when it launches. Like for instance right here, we're just about to launch and I can see that number 1 cylinder is a little bit wet, but if you watch the back tires, how they crinkle, how the car gets up on the tire, and I'll just back up to that one again, how the wheelie bar hits, how the whole car reacts based on the track, and how we can improve that for the next run.
When it comes to the design of a top alcohol dragster, there's a lot of science behind the car's construction.
The frame, the chassis, is made out of chromoly, which is a very thin but strong metal. The car is made to flex. The body is carbon fiber, which is another light material. These things are built to be safe. Like the important part of this car is where the driver sits. In the event of a crash, this car is going to just destroy itself, except for where the driver sits. And that's all we want. Like, it's cool to go fast, but we got to stay safe too. So.
Besides the design of the actual frame, the most unique aspect to these dragsters is the tires.
The tires are a very key part on how this car works. The tires run about 6 pounds of air, maybe a little bit more. They're very soft, and they have a very soft sidewall. So the tire itself, it adheres to the racetrack surface, and the tire turns a little faster than the car is moving, so it wraps itself up, and it helps to get the car accelerating from a standing start. Once the car is rolling down track and there's some inertia to the tire and the wheel, the tire gets a whole lot taller and a whole lot skinnier because that sidewall allows it to flex to that degree.
The Bull 2 burns nitromethane, which is made specifically for drag racing. In terms of fuel efficiency, Dragster is less than economical, to put it lightly.
It ignites under compression more so than it ignites under ignition. And because of that, it's very volatile and delivers a lot of power. This car burns a lot of fuel in a 5.5 second pass. It'll use somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 gallons of fuel. So we're using a gallon every 2 seconds of a run.
And if you're doing the math, that works out to approximately 0.04 miles per gallon. Members of Bakx Racing will agree that the success resulting from all of their hard work, passion, and dedication is well worth it. For Clif, though, the success of these 2 major wins under his belt is just gravy.
I go this route because to me, it's the challenge that I'm handed right now. If I didn't have all the people helping me with this, like all these fellas, they just can't wait for Tuesday nights. Tuesday night's race shop night. You know, even at the RM Council, they know don't even book a meeting for a Tuesday night. Clif ain't going to show up. There's not a chance.
And while he is enjoying this particular journey in life, he says that the world of top alcohol racing isn't something he plans to do indefinitely.
Somebody told me once that if you really enjoy your work, or if you enjoy making money, make sure you enjoy spending money. I've always loved what I've done. I've always worked hard. I'm fortunate to have the chance to do this. For what I spend on this, yeah, there's a lot of other things I could spend money on. These create moments and memories and tons of friends. And to me, people are what makes this world go around. The amount of people we've met at the track, the amount of at this level of racing, they're all good people. They're all incredible people, and that, I mean, I will spend about 60 days in the U.S. this year between all the races that we've gone to, and every time we go, we meet some new people, we see some new territory, and I won't do this forever. I know that probably in 3 or 4 years, I'm like, you know what, I accomplished what I want to accomplish, and it's on to the next thing. And I'm sure my wife let's just do some traveling. But she's been very supportive. At the beginning, it was like, well, I'll only do this for a couple of years. And about 2 years later, she's, just a couple more. So she gave up on that. But no, she's very supportive, and I really respect her for that.